Welcome, and thank you for attending this poster submission. I will discuss with you the reflexive, value-sensitive design for digital identity platforms, which was submitted in a paper to the International Conference on Trustworthy Digital Identity 2023. My name is Henk Marsman, and I'm currently an independent researcher on digital identity and ethics. Digital identity solutions result in both positive and negative outcomes for individuals and society. Question arises how to improve the design of digital identity solutions to maximize the positive outcomes and minimize the negative outcomes. This paper explores an approach to improve the design of digital identity solutions by explicitly including values in the design and thereby improving the outcome of digital identity solutions. We look at the specific shape and form of digital identity solutions, namely platforms. Platforms are distinguishable from other IT or technology instances, such as applications and infrastructure. Yet digital identity solutions are still rarely studied from a platform perspective. But what is a platform and what are the characteristics? Platforms have three specific characteristics that we take into account here. The first is mediating. A platform brings together user groups and mediates the interaction between them so they can carry out defined tasks. The second aspect is that platforms allow third parties to develop services on top of the platform, and as such, they are extensible without the active involvement of the platform owner. That's the generative aspect. And lastly, the platform owner does not have full control over the interaction of the users via the platform or the services developed on the platform. So platforms specifically offer third parties like developers the possibility to expand on that platform and develop new unanticipated add-ons. And later on we will see why that is important. The architecture of digital identity platforms is depicted in a paper by Drs. Masiro and Arvidsson, and it shows the core of the platform, a repository of data on identities, the boundary resources that are used by third parties to develop new services and interact with that core, and the service providers on top of that. And there are two specific examples of digital identity platforms that we want to mention. One is the well-known Aadhaar solution, which is a unique and specific example, and it can be seen as a platform as well. A lot of services are constructed on top of the Aadhaar platform, and at the core sits the identity database. The generativity aspect there takes place through the ongoing development of services on that core. And another example is the Biometric Identity Management System, BIMS, which is used in one of Kenya's largest refugee camps. Now, this specific generative nature of platforms also results in positive or negative outcomes. And they can be exclusion, distortion, policy redirection even. Now, in order to identify these values in digital identity platforms, there is a methodology that can be applied, and that is the value-sensitive design. And value-sensitive design is a framework to systematically integrate the values of ethical importance when designing technology and technological solutions. It consists of three parts: an empirical, a conceptual, and a technical part. And in essence, what it does, it makes sure that values are discussed during design so that the ultimate design also takes into account the various values that are touched upon and that are impacted. Value-sensitive design, however, does work from the assumption that once a designed system has brought to operations, it will not change significantly. And that's exactly where we see that platforms do have the opportunity and the possibility to change significantly during their operation. Now, within the scholars and the literature on value-sensitive design, that methodology has been augmented to address the generative nature of platforms, but also other types of digital technologies, by adding reflexivity into the methodology to address the ontological uncertainty. And that reflexivity makes it applicable during design, implementation, and operation of the platform. Next to the reflexivity, the methodology is also augmented by a method of moral prototyping slash sandboxing. Thereby, effects of experiments and changed impacts on values can be isolated and facilitated by that moral sandboxing. By doing so, the value-sensitive design has gained a fourth dimension, that of reflexivity, and that makes it a good methodology to also apply to digital identity platforms as they evolve over time. So, digital identity solutions with the potential to have positive and negative impact on individuals and society can be aided in their design, but also in their operation by applying value-sensitive design with the reflexivity included in the methodology to make sure that human dignity and values are addressed by applying this methodology. Now, where might this take us? There are at least three areas for future research. Under the eIDAS regulation in Europe, there are many national initiatives to develop a digital identity solution, and it might be of interest to see where values are mentioned and how they are integrated there. And second area is where non-platform based digital identity solution types are developed, wallets and self-sovereign type of solutions to identify how values are integrated in the design and in the operation there. And the third venue that is of interest could be to look at the ethical augmentation of value-sensitive design with reflexivity, to add an ethical theory in order to make the judgments and the trade-offs between values more clear. The capabilities approach has already been tried on that, and that resulted in a capability-sensitive design, but that could also require or could benefit from further study and investigation. So with that, for our digital identity solutions that are of the type of a platform, it's very sensible to look at value-sensitive design with reflexivity to make the values also part of the discussions during the design and during the operation of these type of solutions to improve the positive outcomes and minimize the negative outcomes. With that, I want to thank you for your attention. And if you have any comments or questions on this, please do reach out to me. My contact details are at the bottom of this poster. And thanks again for your time and attention.